So as a brand, since inception, we've made the decision to create a global platform, which was quite an ambitious strategy, I suppose, but that brought us to open our first hotel in London and our second hotel in New York. So as we immediately saw opportunities for our brand in both Western Europe and North America. It's a strategy we're continuing today with approximately 6 of our hotels now in the US, 6 of our hotels in the UK, and also we're now entering the European markets with a hotel in Portugal, hotel in Geneva, hotel in Brussels, and much more coming. We've also entered the Asian markets, but in very specific areas. So we have a couple of hotels in Singapore, Hong Kong is a key market for us, Japan and Australia. So we think that essentially all the mature markets with high barriers to entry, which is a bit awkward, are actually the ideal markets for our brand. And that's where we can create more value for both our guests and our investors. Mm-hmm. We started operating our first hotels just over 10 years ago. And we always had, as I just explained, high ambition for this brand on a global scale. But we thought, and we always thought that at some point the YOTEL business plan, the YOTEL business model, being very digital focused, very rooms focused, and actually quite straightforward to operate, would be ideal for a franchising model. It was always part of our plan. But we also recognized that before we even proposed such a franchising opportunity to our investment partners, we had to demonstrate ourselves that the brand is actually performing. Hence, all of our hotels so far have been operating under hotel management agreements, whereby we are directly operating the hotels, we are directly generating the returns for our owners and demonstrating the abilities of our brand, both in terms of operation, distribution, controls, etc. Today we've reached a point where we have 20 hotels under management, another 12 under construction, and clearly we are ready now to propose a franchising agreement, so which we've started to do on a case-by-case basis. But what's accelerating the process is that this is also what the market is now expecting. What we see across the world increasingly is a split between management and brand, whereby a lot of investors want to have the ability to probably change management team more regularly than they will change brand. Which is a trend that we perfectly understand and actually makes a huge amount of sense. And therefore we are now quite focused on delivering our franchising programs, at least in key markets such as Western Europe and North America. So it will most likely take a big part of our future growth. Massively. COVID and the pandemic and the various lockdowns and impacts it has had on work habits have only accelerated a trend we've always believed in. Right? We've never really looked at our customers in are they corporate, are they leisure, or as far as we're concerned, our customers are both, right? And their purpose is blurry. I mean, they stay with us because they may have a couple of business meetings, but they will stay another couple of nights because they will see their friends, go shopping, enjoy the great cities where we are operating our hotels. So this trend is accelerating, owing due to, depending how you look at things, the crisis we've just gone through. And it's going to stay. I mean, every large MNCs nowadays are announcing one after the other that work from home is going to continue, more flexible working environment, more flexible travel policies, etc. So I think for our entire industry, it's fundamental to embrace this trend. We have since inception, we're continuing to do that. That's why we're designing our hotels to be, on one hand, very efficient, affordable, because people travel pretty more regularly. But at the same time provide the facilities for both a entertainment or a work environment. So our public facilities are typically a mix between a co-working space, a bar, and a restaurant, right? Which is not always easy to design, to be perfectly honest. But it is the expectation, and this is what hotels need to offer, I think, going forward. Massively. Honestly, as a brand, we've always prided ourselves to be innovative. Innovation means essentially challenging the status quo and trying to them if something is done this way, why? Could it be done differently? And in our constant questioning of different processes in our industry, it's very clear that technology nowadays can help hoteliers to provide a better guest experience and a better work environment for our crew. Right? So we're not in a mission to eliminate people from our hotels at all. We're just trying to think like how can we deliver a better guest experience and what are the necessary tools to do that. And technology plays a key part, as you said. We started at the very beginning by providing kiosks for guests to be able to check themselves in much more rapidly than having to go to the reception desk. Launching apps, web applications to be able to communicate with the hotel, to extend the stay, to order food, etc. So, and artificial intelligence we're already utilizing in a certain manner, not yet fully, but for example, what PABX, right? Hotels telephone centers. We've realized that 85% of the calls we receive are about exceptionally basic questions. This is all done by artificial intelligence nowadays. It's efficient, guests are happy, it doesn't make any difference, and for us it releases time for our crew to do more interesting tasks than to say for the 1300th time that the reception is on the bell or whatever the question is, right? So so technology is there to is probably the best opportunity we have in our era to improve our businesses, to improve guest experience, to improve work environment, and we're embracing it. And I'm always surprised when I hear business leaders questioning it. And this is the best opportunity we have in our generation, so we should take it.